You have 2 days to do everything that you suspended for the week. So it's really not easy. Yes, it's really not easy, but we are coping with the pressure.
Well, we thank God. A lot of stories are back on the papers. The issue of the e-levy is not going away anytime soon because we are yet to conclude on that.
And you are aware, I sent you a link that I read it last week, but this week I think because the issue is still boiling, government has undertaken a kind of palliative decision to reduce the rate. I thought it's important we let the public know, because last week I made a very categorical statement to the effect that the e-levy was the handiwork of one person or some few people at the Ministry of Finance, and particularly the Finance Minister. And I said that it was a belated decision. I also said that the policy did not go through a lengthy consultation at Cabinet and also among the Finance Committee of the majority, Finance Committee members of the majority, because of the way even leading members of the party struggled to understand the policy when it was first pronounced during the reading of the budget. All the members of the Finance Committee, there was not even a single person who could authoritatively speak to the mode, the structure of the e-levy. And I believe further discussions has also given the Finance Minister some ideas on how to structure it. Not even leading members of government did not. So it was just, I believe, the decision of the Finance Minister, and I said that it was a copy and paste policy. If you check other African countries, about 5 different countries, it's taxing e-transactions has become an African revenue mobilization agenda. It is now the new cocoa for the continent. Every government is running towards it. And if you read the article that I sent to you, Uganda have done it, Zimbabwe has done it, is it Tanzania, Nigeria? I think Buhari just signed the law, effective this January. Ghana, a good number of them. And the consequence, I mentioned the case of Kenya too. Some of them started around 2018, 2019. And the consequence of the policy is very clear. In Uganda, for instance, this started at 1%. And the 1%, within the first 1 to 2 months of the introduction, there was almost a quarter drop in electronic transactions. So the government had to reduce it to 0.5%. I know some other jurisdictions, that another country, I think that was Zimbabwe or so, they were doing 2%. And I have seen one company in Zimbabwe that has complained that they have lost close to 4.5 million Zimbabwean dollars just as a result of the impact of the Momo levy on their business operations. It's one of the largest retail companies in Zimbabwe. I have seen cases in other jurisdictions where people have started moving from the Momo business to Forex business, because according to one of the vendors who was affected, he said many people now prefer bank-to-bank transactions to the Momo transactions in that country. I have you over time you can read this as a follow-up, because that's why I shared it with you. We have an obligation to properly inform the public, because
Absolutely.
Sometimes when you talk on these issues, they think you are just doing politics. If you look at the Ugandan scenario. And
But
also,
let me add this from the government too before you go, because the Deputy Minister for Finance, John Kuma, has been talking about the fact that they have also
I heard
done
the 24% reduction.
24% reduction.
And that is even the very worrying aspect of the decision they are taking. When you see a 24%, nearly a quarter reduction in Momo transactions, what does it mean for employment in the sector? What does it mean? So it is not just enough to say.
So even the 24% will lead to job losses.
Job losses
in the first 6 months of the implementation of the e-levy.
That is it. And there is something we call policy path dependency. And path dependency is not just in relation to policy, but also public attitude. When somebody starts doing something and he does it for some time and he gets used to it, that attitude becomes path dependent. In other words, the person is likely to continue doing the same thing, and it will take some exogenous force. When we talk of exogenous, it means an external force or policy to change the way of thinking, to change the behavior or the attitudinal path the person has taken. So there's a whole path dependency theory, and path dependency theory have been used to explain several phenomena. Why people cultivate a certain habit, and even when times have changed, they don't want to change. Path dependency. There are people who are very skeptical about change, and it takes a long time to change their minds. So when people were buying into Momo, you know, the banks at a point came out to complain about how Momo was affecting their deposits. In the earlier part of Momo, the Momo business take-up, banks were complaining. Then they were challenged to see the opportunity in the Momo industry and not see them as a threat. And that is why many banks decided to do integration. And thanks to the Ghana Interpayment System, a platform was facilitated by government that enabled banks to incorporate Momo transactions into the way they operate. So you can pull your money from the bank to your wallet, from your wallet to your bank. And that also, facilitated a very mutual, relationship between the Momo business and the bank operations. So that attitude among the public had almost taken shape in terms of their patronage for Momo, because already this country was battling with an attitude of low banking. Many people didn't believe in the banking system, and they didn't even want to keep their monies in the bank, probably because of the inconvenience it will take to move from your village to the bank to take money. And some people are not just patient with the fact that you have to fill so many forms to take your money that you yourself has kept in the bank. Many people were not comfortable with that. Now the financial transactions were brought to their doorsteps with the Momo. So, and it was generally improving the financial inclusion agenda, because with the banks linking their customer accounts to Momo, it was now making it possible for someone to just deposit money into his bank account without necessarily having to go to the bank, something that many people didn't like. Even petty traders, by putting your money in your wallet, you don't need a mobile banker to come and take the money and write it in a small book. Probably you can't even tell whether the mobile banker has really deposited the money in your account, because in the past we have had situations where mobile bankers have swindled some customers' money or their savings. So Momo was making transactions safer. It was helping to build trust in the platform for transactions. And now we are reversing that attitude. And once people begin to despise Momo again, it will take another layer of stronger advocacy for government to do that. So number one, the government is saying that they are aware that Momo transactions will drop by about 24%. How will that impact on jobs in that sector? That's number one. And how many people do you envisage annually that the money you are going to pick from the Momo transactions will create jobs for? Because mind you, not all the 6.7 something billion cedis will go into just job creation. This is money we are splitting across several sectors. Because we are taking the money to fund the budget. And when you are using money to fund the budget, you spread the revenue handle very thin. It's not a dedicated source. It's not like the Get Fund levy, where you take the levy and you know that straight is going to get fund projects. It's not like the talk tax, where you take the money and you know that it is funded youth employment. That is one of the missing links in government's explanation. Any money that goes directly into financing the budget, that money is difficult to account for because you spread it across different ministries. And many of the ministries, they have their own financial management practices. Some of them waste money. Some of them, they overspend their budgets without any meaningful projects. And so that is why even the annual budget fund amount, which we are drawing from our oil proceeds, people have raised issues about the efficiency of that expenditure. You keep using the oil money, fund the budget, and even the projects that they claim they are executing with that money, you can see them. PIAC has done series of research and studies to reveal how some of these allocations are not yielding the benefit that we want to see. So when you are introducing such a levy, if you want it to be very instrumental in achieving the goal that you want, you don't push it into the bigger basket of revenue mobilization. You identify one or two activities and you tell us how that revenue is going to finance it. 50-50%, 60-40%, so that at the end of the day, we can go into that fund and look at how monies accruing to that fund has been utilized. But any money that goes into the broader bucket for financing our budget, it ends up being not properly utilized, and government is often, most of the time, not unable to account for it. I am not the one saying it. Even the Auditor General has informed us about how much we are losing annually, and nobody asks, how do we get those monies back? Who are spending it? Which department? And sometimes even district assemblies, if you listen to how much they squander, it will amaze you. Meanwhile, every year we allocate monies to them in the name of the Assembly Common Fund. And once we allocate to them, nobody does a follow-up to ensure that the money is judiciously utilized. At the end of the day, they come to account. They can't even produce proper receipts to back some of their expenditures. This is the country we are running.
Once people tell you that, let us do, and you hold us accountable, and that's where
it will not work.
Get to that. It's even the terrible thing to say in the first place.
It doesn't work like that.
People contribute money and donate to you. You can account for it.
You can't. Even the COVID-19 fund.
You cannot account for it.
So small a fund.
Yes.
Very small fund.
And so once people say that, you say, maybe they are not serious, or they are overthinking that we are not intelligent.
Yeah.
And so they can say anything and get away with that.
And you know something? You know the MASLOC. MASLOC is just a small agency that is supposed to be leading the entrepreneurial, the job creation efforts of government. MASLOC. Such a strategic agency, because one of the challenges of business development and growth in Ghana, we all know, is about access to finance. and not just finance, but cheap capital, cheap finance. Capital that you pay low interest. If you go and look at Maslow loans, the interest is very good for an average startup business to, do it, because the cost of that capital is very low. But over the years, look at how Maslow has been operating. They keep the money, either they give it to political magaziers and chairmen, or they wait. When it is election time, the managers of the enterprise become, they become philanthropists, giving soft loans to women groups, youth groups. Suddenly,
because elections are very close.
Elections are very close.
A political agenda.
Yes, but if Maslow was properly structured, and government was telling us that, look, the money that we are going to take from the e-levy, maybe 20-30% of that money will go into Maslow to support small and medium-scale enterprises. People would have been able to track how that money will be utilized, because we know how Maslow is helping, but Maslow is not helping. So, and the road fund, the road fund, we could tell around the time of Prof. Atamils, they were accounting every quarter how much we make into the road fund. And even the tax, when President Kufuor introduced it, they were accounting to us every quarter how much we have made from the tax. And you could trace it to the agency activities that the tax was supposed to finance. So one of the ways they could help citizens to track the e-levy revenue was to say that 50% of that will go to road fund, so that at the end of the day we will trace the amount to road fund and see the road projects it has executed. Then maybe 30% will go to Maslow or any other agency, and then we can trace that money to that place. But you don't throw out general narratives. Oh, it will create jobs. How does it create jobs? It's not simple to create a job in Ghana. Anybody can say that oh, we are going to create jobs. Do you know something about the U-Start? If they ask you, the U-Start is in this. No, not the U-Start. The U-Start is part of that the recovery program.
Yes, the
Ghana
Cares program.
Yes,
creating jobs.
It is in the second phase. Have you seen anything happening?
No, I don't know.
The government is trumpeting a lot about the Obatampa initiative, that it is supposed to revamp our infrastructure, to streamline the flagship programs. The rhetoric around it is very, flamboyant. But if you go and check on the ground, what is the foundation after 3 years of the first phase of Obatampa program? You cannot tell. Where are we continuing from? We don't know. So, in terms of government revenue usage, government is the last player to assure citizens of a proper utilization of their money. Government is not good at that. You know it, I know it. Even they themselves, they know it. Because they are not able to hold public institutions accountable for money they give to them. The only person who wanted to build that culture of public institutional accountability was Mr. Domlevo. Because for him, he was trying to build a culture where, regardless of which office you are, whether it is the presidency, whether it is the office of the senior minister, whether it is the Ministry of Finance, once there is irregular expenditure in your office, you must pay it back to the public exchequer. That was the culture he was trying to build. And he tried doing so by starting from the office of the headmaster. Because if you do that at the highest level and it succeeds, nobody will tell those lower down the ladder that it is easy to come after them. But when the man tried at the top, what happened? It backfired. Where is he now? nowhere to be found. That singular failure of Mr. Domelevo has created a culture of institutional intimidation, and no anti-corruption agency head can comfortably say that if he sticks out his head or her head to fight corruption, he will not be swallowed by the same corruption. So governments in this country, particularly this government, has not demonstrated any meaningful commitment through all the laws it has passed in parliament, through all institutions it has established to fight corruption. It has not shown any dedication or commitment to allowing those institutions to fight corruption. So they are not the people to do that. Very worryingly, you heard about the state enterprises. 5.3 billion loss. And that is 50% of state-owned enterprises. I believe the rest might have narrowly break even, not even make profit. And you know why they cannot make profit? You know it. Because state-owned enterprises has become dumping grounds for the boys and mistresses of politicians. They have become the dumping places for the boys, the foot soldiers, and the mistresses of big men in this country.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care. Once they come to tell them that he has finished in university and he has a degree, he just takes his name and then give it to the big man. Oh, I have a boy. He has a degree and he wants a job. That is the end of it. They have to pick him. Whether they need him or not, they have to pick him. So many state-owned enterprises, their overhead, the money they use to pay salaries and utilities, far outweighs the money that goes directly into the provision of the service that those institutions are supposed to be rendering. And that is why you go to many public sector enterprises and you see the allowances of their officers, and then even simple generators they don't have. Standby generator. So one light goes off, the whole place is off. Sometimes simple printer, photocopier, and sometimes you can even look at the building, and you look at how wretched the place is.
Yeah.
They don't even bother to repaint the place just to make it look nice, to boost the morale of the staff. So I have come to understand the culture in the public sector. So I am no more bothered. When I'm going to a public sector institution, what I simply do is to lower my expectation so that I don't get disappointed. Because the frontline officer who is going to deal with you, he is being put there, he is paid a salary, sometimes very good salary, but he is not given the tools to work. So he wears a very nice tie, he drives a very nice car, but he comes to the office and the basic tools that will make him work are not there. And sometimes when you complain, you have problem with your bosses. So why do you do that to the state? You pick somebody, you ask government to pay the person, government pays, and then you allow the person to waste in that office. Simple tools. And that is why when you go to TTH, if you don't take care, you are going to blame the senior nurses, the medical assistants, and the doctors because they don't receive you well. Many of them are depressed. You go to his office, you can see cobwebs around the office. The louvers are very dirty. The tables look very shambolic, very old and rusty. That man comes to that place not even motivated. It doesn't look neat. A full doctor. Then he struggles with a very old chair. The patients are lined up waiting for him, and they don't even want to give him time to eat. And the first patient who comes in the morning wants that doctor to smile at him, just like the one who comes in the evening when that man is very tired and waiting for the next person to come and take over. That is the danger of frontline officers. Because you are, in the first place, you yourself, your conditions are very bad. You are struggling with meager salary. You don't have the tools to work. Meanwhile, the public expect to see your institution reflecting in your conduct. But the people who make the decisions, they don't have the benefit of dealing with the customers. No, they don't care. They don't feel the heat. But they are the people who make the decisions for the institution. They are the people who determine the procurement decisions. This is the system that we are running. And so it will be hard. It is high time the state takes off its hands from business. That is why I was very worried that this government will go all the way outside Ghana to pick loan to come and finance a development bank. Which public bank in Ghana is doing well? Can you tell? Which bank can you just pinpoint? Because even collapsing banks are still recruiting people because of the influence of big politicians. So you are a manager, but you can't even determine the quality of human resource to employ in the institution. Big men will bring substandard human resource, force them on you to employ them. And when the institution is not doing well, they come after you. So when I listen to the president, I just wonder whether he's not aware of what is happening, with his protocol lists. Because the list that comes to you, nobody vests it. It's about who is connected. And when after you push them to those departments, when it is not working, then you now come and tell them they must up their game. That is the problem that we are having. So this country, not even the states, no minister. Look, the moment the finance minister disburses budget to ministries, he loses control. He loses control. He cannot hold anybody accountable. So what is the ways of accounting for the e-levy? You are going to use it to finance several projects on the budget. And the projects are scattered across different ministries. And every year we record a lot of irregularities from those ministries. And nobody is held accountable for those monies. So even if you, the president, the finance minister, the people who give the resources out, if you cannot hold your appointees accountable for money that they waste, how do we hold you accountable for that money? So for me,
that's the question we've been wondering about as to this element of accountability.
No.
Very terrible in this country.
We don't have that culture.
Yes,
and there's no framework of accountability in place. There is none. There is none. And even I have just told you about the BIAC issues. Even though it is affecting livelihoods and businesses, government is not able to withdraw it. That's why they decided to reduce it to 0.5. Because if they do so, because of the way they have now hooked many public services to that income, the economy will crash. Because how do you finance it? And that is what this government is trying to do. Oh my God.
Well, if you just join us, this is 91.7 FM. You can share your comments and contributions with us this morning on 0202456733.
You are aware that the lecturers are still on strike?
Yes.
And very likely the universities may have to close down because I understand it's almost 21 days of no academic work after schools have resumed. The universities cannot continue to incur costs without rendering a service. So utilities are being utilized. Light, water in many student halls. And now these people are not talking about even supporting them to do research. they are talking about their basic salaries. So basic. And government is not able to provide. How many lecturers do we have in Ghana? So I am just thinking whether government should be taking itself away from the delivery of certain services, because we've just heard that many state enterprises have made loss in 2020 to the tune of 5.3 billion. If university management is becoming a problem for government, why don't you hand it over to the management of those institutions? Because I know universities are generating a lot of revenue through their fees. Even public universities are doing so well with the fees they charge. They are motivating their staff and they are delivering wonderful outcomes. So if government have a problem managing tertiary education, why can't they admit? Because one of the challenges about the universities too is that anything that has to do with government paying the worker, then recruitment procedures are relaxed and very shoddy. People don't hunt for the best talent. And that is what I have seen in many public universities. Because if you go to Europe, universities are searching for talent. They try to poach best professors from other universities to come and build the profile of their own universities. But here, because it is government paying the lecturers, and they are not under pressure to raise money to sustain themselves, you see a lot of substandard recruitment into those institutions. And that is why I agree with people who are raising issues of output. Because if lecturers are supposed to be researching, where is the output? You can't blame the lecturer. If you are an employer, you have two things to do. Or three, let me say four. Number one is to make sure that you recruit the right people. Number two is to ensure that you reward them appropriately. And reward can mean both positive and negative rewards. And number three, you have to supervise and insist on results as a last resort. So if you employ somebody and you pay the person a salary and you give the person a job description and the person is not delivering on that job description, it is your duty as an employer to put systems in place to ask for the results. If the person is not delivering and you are also quiet and the person insists on more benefits, you can't then use your lack of supervision and asking for results as an excuse to say that what are they even publishing? We don't see their research, and so they are asking for A, B, C, D. That is none of their business. Have you asked for the results and it is not provided? Imagine if
they have also been complaining that they do researches and government does not pay any respect to those researches. So what is the point?
What we have to do is that we need to have a research repository. It can be a centralized research repository or institutional research repositories where research carried out by faculty of various universities are published. If you have done research with public funds, you are obliged to publish that research in that research repository, so that anybody who wants research on Ghana can just go there, select a discipline and search, and all researches on that discipline will show up. If you have ever studied outside Ghana, you will know that the most difficult thing to do as a student from Ghana is to write a research paper based on secondary data. You will Google and you will not find any research, proper research online. And there was this bizarre thing where leading professors, respected professors of universities, will just do a publication and upload just a PDF and publish PDF online. So you download it and you can't use it for academic purpose because you can't properly cite it. You don't know whether it was published in any journal. You don't know who authored it, or the author may be there, but you don't know even there's no date. It's just a PDF. I used to see that a lot. And I know many students outside Ghana. I know so many. And in Europe, once you begin to cite literature more than 10 years, even 5 years, you have a problem with your supervisor. He will think you are wasting his time. And just yesterday, I heard reports from students who were studying in Germany, some students researching topics in Ghana, having a lot of problems with their professors. Because once you choose a Ghanaian topic, you will have problem with reviewing literature. You will Google and you won't find anything. Even Nigeria is better. If you Google some topics in Ghana, you are likely to find more Nigerian publications on that topic than Ghanaian publications. So we still have a problem. And I don't have any evidence to show that professors in Ghana are not publishing that much. They may be publishing, but that research is not publicly available for people to utilize. I have suffered the same thing. Sometimes you see more media report on certain topics than even research reports on it. So what government have to do by way of accountability in those universities is to ask all the universities to have a research repository, not the student thesis repository, no, the lecturers research repository. It can be a national one. That's why you go to JSTOR. If you go to JSTOR, those who are privy to literature issues, JSTOR, you find every article, journal article, even from the olden days to latest, published online there. I think it's an American journal database. We have to have something like that in Ghana. It can be collective. It will even make the universities to measure their output against each other. Because if you have a central repository and you can select university and you select the subject and you select publications, and you see this university, how many publications in the area of sociology or pharmacy are published in that university for the year. Then you go to UCC, you select UCC, you select pharmacy, and you select publications, and you can see the number of publications from their faculty. It helps a lot, not just to enable students who are doing research to easily review existing literature, but it also helps the government to track the monies it has been pumping into staff research. It is not the duty. You see, everybody will want to free ride. Once you give money to somebody and you have no way of asking for results, the person will not naturally work to give the results. And that is what is making the private sector very efficient and effective. Because people are, made to account for positions that they are holding. It is not enough to say that I am the head of human resource, I am the head of corporate whatever. And that is the end of it. There's a problem and you don't even sleep and think about the problem. What you just go is to go and lament to your management and this and this and this and that, giving excuses. In some jurisdictions, if one thing happens and you are not able to provide satisfactory explanation, you are fired. That is how
you
government
just quit yourself. You resign.
You resign. But go to many institutions, and that's why you are complaining. I just saw one post from a brother yesterday about TTH, a teaching hospital with security. Then people will just enter patients' wards and steal mobile phones, steal their money. Can you imagine a teaching? Look, what are we up to as a country? Can you imagine this happening in any facility elsewhere? I don't think we are serious.
Simple issues, we cannot address them.
Yes, because the hospital is already a place of vulnerability. And already they are not even shielded from thieves. They are already battling with sickness and they come to seek
And you
for
take your
solution.
little money there.
You
to
take
pay
your little money there, and you allow
bills.
tips to come in again. A hospital should be a security zone. Do you know that? It should be a security zone. And that is why many big men will not allow themselves to be admitted in our public hospitals when they are sick. Imagine this: if thieves can come and steal patients, it means somebody can just enter and shoot and kill you on your sick bed. If you are a politician, somebody can kill you like that. Simple. So politicians are also worried about, one, their privacy, two, their security before they get.
Are they not the same people creating these situations for us?
No, it's not. Let me look. Sometimes we
blame
we blame the politicians too much.
Mr.
Ibrahim, public servants has more power than politicians when it comes to public service delivery. I am telling you on authority.
But they usually don't. The accountability issues.
Because the politician don't bother to do a follow-up to ensure that the right things are done. It is just systems you will put in place. And you can hold people accountable to that. You can hold people accountable to that just by putting in place the right systems. But supervision is a problem in the public sector. And that is why they can't make profit. Look, what I am telling you, go and check. There is one thing, SIGA, the state enterprises and whatever, the one Asamoah Barton just resigned from. The reason why, one of the things they are not telling us is why these institutions are making losses. The president has spoken big on that, but he doesn't seem to have a clue as to why these institutions are making a loss.
Not even the fact because of that they will put in place a SIGA,
yes,
enterprises and the governance
yes, agency.
So if that is the case, so you go and establish another authority,
yeah,
and yet
I mean, and that was why they established it actually, because it was to ensure that these institutions are doing the right thing, and they are at least they are breaking even if they are not making profit. So it's just like you ask the politician, go and fight corruption, then he go and establish the office of special prosecutor, allocate your money to that office, and that ends it. They don't ask for results. They don't care what happens there. You ask them to fight procurement fraud, they go and say PPA. They make all the nice laws, and heads of those institutions are involved in the same wrong thing. Nobody cares. They reveal them. Nobody fires them. Nobody jails them. You say state enterprises are making losses, then you go and establish SIGA to ensure that there's corporate governance practices in those institutions.
2-3 years down the line, we come back to complain.
You come back to complain that almost 50% are
and somebody
making losses.
sitting down there taking.
And people are, yes, and the CEO of that agency, that body that is supposed to be supervising those state enterprises, maybe the money, the salary, and emoluments that money is taken probably could solve the problem we are looking for. Yes, that alone could constitute the profit of the enterprises, and you use it to pay somebody, and for no work done, for no results achieved. So apparently we are not serious, and the state should know where its services can work best. Yes, in terms of governance efficiency, accountability, the state is the last agency to do that. They can't account for the resources they are utilizing. They can't be in any meaningful business because packing party boys into those institutions will basically make them liabilities to the state, and they know it. The president is aware. So I am surprised that the president is not highlighting the underlying causes of these losses, and he's just challenging them. How do you challenge them when you have made those places the dumping boys for your political foot soldiers?
Well, you can also share with us your concern this morning on 020-245-6733, 020-245-6733. Good morning, Mr. Brian. Please greet Mr. Nash and your listeners on the issue of Domelevo. Why did the government forcefully remove him from office on the issue of his due retirement date? Why can't the government extend his contract if he was doing well for Ghana? This is from Dala Palu. And I mean, Ginger Kukonia Manai is writing to us this morning. He says that good morning to you, Mr. Ibrahim, and to your listeners. I and especially the people of JJK, Mr. Ibrahim. So this government will not forget about the e-levy. What is just behind it? Although if they refuse to pass it, we are going to do away with Momo and see how they will get the money that they are projecting on the e-levy. That's I mean there. So you can also share your comments with us on 0202456733. We're glad to listen to you this morning. But we'll take a breather. When we are back, we have a lot more coming up, and we'll be talking about safety on the road as well. So move away.
AFCON EGL promotion. For our old, new, and future customers, Electroland Ghana has dropped prices. Whilst the stadium is packed with excitement, watch all live AFCON matches on your NASCO television. EGL has got you fantastic prices from NASCO, Media, and Toshiba. Walk into Electroland Ghana and grab your 32 inches NASCO flat LED TV for 799 Ghana cedis. With 549 Ghana cedis, grab your NASCO air cooler. The new NASCO split AC is going for 2,999 Ghana cedis. Of course, chilled drinks should be available for 689 Ghana cedis. Grab a NASCO tabletop refrigerator. With just 449 Ghana cedis, grab a Toshiba microwave solo. Media refrigerator is going for 799 Ghana cedis. Media washing machine start at 1,799. Oh, what a promo! What a goal! This and many more electronic and home appliances from EGL.
EGL AFCON promotion. High sense phone. OBS smartphones are stylish. Camera no resolution high. Long lasting battery. And now the latest Android version. Yet videos you photos you and nothing internal memory no. Ni say kakraka. High sense smartphone promo na baby mo. Upon the cool. A 5200 Ghana cedis airport. Ubenyabi 28th January. Akopin 5th February. High sense smartphones no. Madam High sense. Matiti Susel. Who? High sense phone. And WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Message. Ukuta 200 Ghana cedis. Ubenyabi. Shiami wa high sense showroom bia. Na kwa Jodie. Aye high sense smartphone promo. High sense. Everyday prices for everyday people.
Hi, I'm Mr. Sensational, and I'm about to introduce to you Northern Ghana's #1 stop shop for quality and affordable digital printing. Home Prints offers a world-class digital print solutions that will sell your brand like no other. They offer general printing services from graphic designs, large format printing, branding, advertising, embroidering, and so much more. For quality and affordable posters, stickers, banners, flyers, pull-ups, caps, and t-shirts printing, just contact Home Prints and they will deliver to your satisfaction. Home Prints also do large format printing like billboards, signages, banners, and signboards. They also undertake branding of offices, cars, and business centers. Email homeprintsgh233@gmail.com and they will deliver at your doorstep. Locate Home Prints at Gubani Last Store, left hand side on the Canvely Road in Tamale. Call Home Prints on 050-8894-912 or 024-615-6706. Home Print Graphic Designs and Print Solutions.
Creative solutions that exceed your expectation.
Do you need money to start a business? Do you need money to expand your business? Are you a government or a private sector worker in need of money to sort out some needs? Are you in need of an emergency loan with the ability to pay? Quick Credit will loan you money so you can repay in flexible terms. It's collateral-free loan with no susu, savings, account opening, no deposit wahala. You just need to be a Ghanaian with your Ghana card. Quick Credit covers all forms of loan, and so you have no excuse not to work this 2022 and beyond. Call Quick Credit on 030-2200-390 or 0596 920 833. Take note that we do not give loans via the internet. Beware of scammers. We are regulated and licensed by the Bank of Ghana. Terms and conditions apply. Quick credit. Lending made simple.
This is Radio Tamale, 91.7. 91.7.
Example 1. On 91.7 FM. Wake up Tamale on 91.7 FM.
Lubricants are in stock for you. reach out to Benzol Oil this morning and, of course, get the quality products that you would want to use for your vehicles. But let's go to the phone line. I told you that we'll be talking about safety on our road this morning, and we are talking about the management of the space on the road to avoid crashes. Good morning, sir. Great to have you, Mr. Sofyan.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Ibrahim. How are you?
I'm fine. This morning we are talking about managing the space on the road.
Yeah.
Yes. What does that mean to prevent crashes? What does that mean? How do we manage the space? And what space are you referring to?
I'm referring to the space on the road, Mr. Ibrahim.
Okay.
You know, every road user on our roads or on our streets is using space. And by space, I just mean the road space. But when you are on the road, there are certain mandatory rules or regulations you need to observe regarding the space ahead of you, the space behind you, the space on your right, on your left, to ensure that you are safe. For instance, there is a rule that you maintain a 2-second following distance from the vehicle that is ahead of you. What it means is that when you are behind a vehicle, you are B riding behind you shouldn't drive so close to the vehicle that it becomes impossible for you to stop and avoid hitting the rear of the vehicle when the vehicle ahead of you suddenly stops. For the one ahead of you cannot see what it is seeing. So if it becomes necessary for it to stop and the following distance is so close, you will run into the rear and cause a crash. So these are things that you need to do. Then also, we are looking at a situation where you need to overtake. If you are overtaking and there's no enough space on the left where you are supposed to do, if it is a single lane, where you are supposed to do the overtaking, then it means that you cannot do it. So these are things that you should look for. But then there are certain things that you also need to do when it comes to, for instance, the vehicle ahead is doing a U-turn. It's about to get into a roundabout speed. In that case, what we need to do is to maintain a separation distance, because we are no more looking at the 2-second following distance. So places like traffic lights, at junction, U-turn, and roundabout, or when the vehicle is approaching a road hump or rumble strip, these places we maintain a separation distance. We give it enough space so that it can negotiate or maneuver and do the U-turn or the roundabout before you follow. But what do we see here in our part of the country? People even overtake on the speed arm or road arm. The road arm is a speed calming device. What it means is that when you are approaching it, you are supposed to reduce your speed and calm down. So that is not a place where you should overtake. So when the vehicle ahead of you is slowing down, you feel that no, it is slowing down, so let me overtake. It is slowing down because it is approaching a speed hump, and the route says it should slow down so that it can climb it. It should say speed hump is put there probably because there are pedestrian crossings. There's a conflict, pedestrian vehicle conflict at that area. So it is put there to calm speed so that people can cross safely. So when it reduces its speed and you feel you should overtake, you are rather doing the wrong thing. So all this should be noticed. Then, if I've mentioned the 2-second following distance. This is where the road is dry and space and then free. But when it's raining, the road is not good. There are so many potholes and other distractions on the road. Then you will have to increase the following speed from the 2 seconds that I mentioned, probably 3, 4, or 5, so that you still be safe. Why? Because your stopping